Welcome back to the Anything Goes with Jax and Neill podcast. Today I have an awesome guest. Trizz joins the podcast to talk about his latest project, The Basement. Before we jump into that, remember, you can listen to this podcast on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you like podcasts, you can find this one. But it also has a brand new home, JacksonNeillPodcasts.com. Go visit the website. That's the hub for this podcast, as well as my sports and music ones as well. So go check out JacksonNeillPodcasts.com. A quick note. This podcast was a video interview between Trizz and I. It was a Skype call. He was in South by Southwest when I gave him a call. So definitely check out the first link down in the description, no matter what platform you're on, to go see the video portion of the interview if you're on an audio-only platform. So, jumping into the interview, Trizz and I talked about his latest project, The Basement. He told me about what it was like making the project, how it's kind of different from some other ones. This is another installment. He has the one with The Addict. He has some other projects based off of portions of the house. He told me a little bit about that and what's so significant about the name of this and just how his 2018 went, all of the big stuff he has planned for 2019. So big thank you to Trizz for coming on the podcast. Here's my conversation with him. You're at South by Southwest right now, I guess. Just how's that going?
It's going good, man. I'm out promoting my album and whatnot. I'm in the studio actually right now, just like with the homies, you know what I mean, going over the new video we finna drop and shit like that. So yeah, I'm just out here really like promoting. I got like 2 shows and shit.
Okay, yeah. That new album, The Basement, it's coming out tonight.
Yeah.
What was the process like going into that project?
Pretty straightforward. You feel me? The vibe was all dark. I always recorded at night. You know what I mean, to keep that feel going. You know what I'm saying? All the beats had to be right. I wanted it to sound real evil. You know what I mean? I was going through some shit during the whole recording process. You know what I mean? Things like my girl and shit like that, and the homies that I don't fuck with no more. You know what I mean? And I was just putting it all in the music. So like, it was just all real life shit. Like, I just set the tone for it.
Gotcha. I think that's so cool when you mention how it's evil, and then your first track, I saw on the track listing, is Thanos.
Yeah, on the real.
That's a cool little nod there, I think, to the evil kind of setting.
Yeah, exactly. He's untouchable.
Exactly. Snap the fingers, you're vanished, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, you said there you recorded a lot of it, like, at night. Is that a different approach, I guess, than what you normally do for your projects?
Yeah. Well, for the most part, yeah. I like intentionally record it at night every time. But yeah, for the most part, I usually don't focus on that too much, but I typically like to record at night. But this time I made it a point to always record at night. So yeah, it's not something I do like intentionally, but this time I did.
Mm-hmm, yeah, because it helps you get that that darker vibe. Exactly.
For real.
So the title, The Basement, why that title?
Yeah, it's like my mind frame. It's my world. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like it's kind of like I don't know if you're familiar with being claustrophobic or whatever, but yeah. I feel like that in my mind with all the shit that I go through and everything. And I'm just bringing people into the basement, just like I took them in through the attic. You know what I mean? It's just my dark place that I'm bringing people into. You know what I mean? So that's why I named it that. And so the cellar is going to follow that. So right now we at the basement, and that's why I named it that. You know what I mean? And it's dark, grim. And if you could smell like my album or something, it would smell like a basement or like a attic.
That's so cool. I think that's a really interesting way you kind of have like all the different parts of like almost like a house, building a house through your projects.
On the real, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's really cool. You mentioned there, being kind of claustrophobic in your mind. Is it like there's like so many thoughts and ideas, you just have to kind of get it out? Is that what it is?
Yeah, and on top of just like things that I go through just like anybody else, you know what I mean? Just like life shit that clogs my brain while I'm trying to work, you know what I'm saying? And just shit that I go through with the industry and fake homies and stuff like that. All of that is like, to me, is like it's like being trapped in my mind, you know?
Mm-hmm. And this can be an opportunity to kind of let people see into there and also maybe give you a little bit of an escape too.
Exactly.
So in 2018, you dropped several projects. Why so much output in one year?
To keep the momentum going and to keep the fans alert. Like we like are in a fast-paced game, especially with streaming and with people dropping randomly, and music doesn't last no more than like a month. Hopefully, 2 weeks, if that. So I try to keep a consistent flow of music coming out, whether it's a single, video, or just a clip of me on Instagram, promoting some shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was like really my thing. Like I wanted to keep projects coming out like every season. You know what I mean? So like there's always something that I could give my fans. You know what I mean? I'm independent. I'm not signed to a major label or nothing like that. So I got creative freedom to do what I want.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so interesting because any especially independent artists I talk to nowadays, they're straying so much further away from like that kind of album a year mindset. Because the way I listen to music, I listen to new projects every single week, and it's like something that dropped 2 months ago is like, wow, that's a while ago, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like you have to like keep up with everybody because there's so many other artists in the game that's thinking just like you. You know what I mean? They feel like they got to put shit out. Mm-hmm. So like I want to be 2 steps ahead. I still got projects that's already completed that I'm about to put out. So like it's like I keep something loaded in the chamber as well as I keep working. So it's like an infinite amount of work that I got backed up.
Gotcha. So is 2019 going to be kind of more of the same? Like you have the basement now, but you're also going to be keeping the foot on the gas pedal?
Yeah, hell yeah. I got collab projects I'm working on. I got a collab project with my boy Satire. My boy Theo Ferragamo out of Atlanta. He's affiliated with OGG and OG Maco. I got a tape with him. Like, yeah, I just got me and Rocksteady are working on the preamp too. You know what I mean? So like, I'm always working. Me and Chewy talking about something. So
yeah, I mean, I was about to mention that's actually something I've written down. You and Chewy, that you guys have done multiple projects together. And you have other collaborative projects. What's it about? What do you like so much about working with other people on a full length?
Well, it's like once I feel like we got a vibe going, I feel like why not make it a bond? You know what I mean? Like if I already make 1 good song with you, 2 good songs, 3, let's make a full project and get some money out of it. You know what I mean? And let's collide fan bases because our fan bases will go crazy. It's kind of like when Drake and Future drop some shit, or you know what I mean, Wiz and Currency. It's like they fan bases, you know, they smack together and they make good music together and they make money overall. You know what I'm saying? So like. To me, it's about, building that relationship and making some good music. And then if we can make more music, why not,
Exactly. And I think that Wiz and Currency one, I really like that example because, like, those are 2 artists all the way back in 2009 when they first, did that first project, really, translated their fan bases. And it's kind of grown to be this thing over a decade now that they're still doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like some shit that, like, that can't be matched because these 2 styles come together. You can't get that nowhere else.
Exactly.
And I feel like fans, they love that shit. So.
Mm-hmm. So I want to kind of go back a little bit to the basement. When people listen to this, their first time listening to it or the second time listening through it, what do you hope people take away from it?
I hope they get a better understanding of what I mean by a lot of the shit that I say. Like, I hope they are able to understand my world a little bit more, my homies, you know what I mean, and where we come from and how we operate. You know what I'm saying? I want people to, like, really soak up game, you know what I mean, about how I get down, independence, you know what I mean, doing everything on your own, not being a suck up to the industry, all that shit, stuff like that. I'm trying to get that kind of feel with it. Mm-hmm. I want them to take that from listening to it. Exactly.
I mean, because you've been an independent artist for years now, and it's almost getting to that point where you feel like you have something to kind of give to people, all the stuff you've learned.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like it's something that I feel like I owe my fans on top of that because, like, they've heard all this music, you know what I mean, prior to, because I started this with Ashes and Dust. So prior to that, they've heard a whole bunch of songs and shit like that of just me talking. I feel like, but this is telling more of my story about what I'm really about and who I am and, like, being actually real about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? No fabrications, no exaggerations. Everything that I'm talking about is real, or I experienced it.
Gotcha. Do you find I find with some artists, at first it might be a little hard for them to kind of open up and do like a little bit of a personal kind of project. Do you find that with yourself?
No, it's actually easy to me because I like talking about myself. I'm conceited, you know what I mean? I'm like self-centered, you know what I mean? So like I like talking about myself. So rapping about myself to me ain't shit. I like doing it. It was just sitting down and taking the time and like making sure it was the right thing, you know what I mean? Instead of just rapping, you know. Exactly. Make sure it flowed together.
Mm-hmm. And they created a cohesive kind of body of work. So I guess just, right now, you have this project coming out tonight. You're in South by Southwest. Have your shows. You're already in the studio again. You have all of the projects coming up. Just how you feeling about going into this release and then the rest of 2019?
Oh, man, I feel like everything's going to be good. I feel like I'm going to blow up more than I have ever. I had a great 2018. This 2019 is going to be even bigger. I'm going to tour the album with my boy Sadistic. We're about to announce a tour. And I feel like all my opportunities are like coming. I'm doing festivals now. I'm performing at this festival with Chewy on on April 6th. It's called the Happiness and Pursuit Festival. So like, it's just all my fruits are starting to grow. You know what I mean? And I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor.
Must be an awesome feeling when you see all those years of hard work and it's like you're finally reaching that level of, oh, it's now paying off. It's now the albums are selling how it's supposed to be. Now the tours are coming together.
Hell yeah, for sure, exactly. It makes me feel hella like completed. It makes me feel like I'm doing something that's worthwhile because I got people waiting on some shit, you know?
Yeah, you're finally able to build up that fan base. I'm happy for you, man.
Exactly, man. I appreciate it. Thanks.
And thank you for doing this interview.
No, man. Thanks for having me.
Again, a big thank you to Trizz for coming onto the podcast. Really appreciated him coming on. Had a great time talking with him about The Basement. Remember, go down in the description. I don't care what platform you're on. I have the links down there so you can check out The Basement. You can check out him on Instagram, on Twitter, stuff like that. Go down in the description, check all that stuff out, and give The Basement a listen. I was really excited when it came out and gave it a quick listen. Had to go back to it. It's a really, really fun project to listen to. A big thank you to Trizz for coming on to the podcast. That will do it for this episode of Anything Goes with Jax and Neill. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, check out jacksandneillpodcasts.com. You can catch all the episodes of this one, as well as my sports and music ones, on that website. So make sure to go check that out. Link down in the description, jacksandneillpodcasts.com. Also down in the description is a link to my Patreon page. There you can support the podcast and become a member. Now, different membership tiers, cost different monthly, but stuff like bonus content, that's going to be published on April 1st. From this interview, I talked to Trizz a little bit about video games, some Vans shoes, stuff like that. And all my other interviews, I'm going to be producing a lot of bonus content from there. So go check that link out, see the different tiers. The first bonus stuff is coming out on April 1st, so make sure you go sign up for a membership for my podcast there. Also, another link down in the description, a lot of stuff down there, are links to my social media handles at JacksonNeill20 on Instagram and Twitter. Follow me there, catch some bonus content, catch some other stuff I post there. I like to think I'm pretty interesting on social media, so give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter at JacksonNeill20. And now, that officially wraps this entire episode up. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you all next time.